Good morning and welcome to the Day 5 recap of the 2023 Arizona Trail Showdown. We are following Michael McKnight on his FKT attempt on the Arizona Trail. I'm Jamil Curry, joined by Bryce Brooks. Good morning.
Good morning, Jamil.
Happy post-Halloween.
Oh, I feel terrible. Way too much candy last night.
Oh, goodness.
So today is day 5.
Yeah, I think we're 5 days in now. So Mike. Mike is currently at the Picket Post Trailhead. I believe he's still sleeping in the van. He pulled another late night, so that's mile 288 out of 800 something. And yeah.
Which must have been like 100K day, right? From where he was.
Because he was just starting on the show yesterday. I believe he finished around 3 or 4 a.m. today. So I guess that was maybe about a 20-hour experience for him. I'm not sure how much time he spent at the Kelvin Bridge area. We'll talk to Ben here shortly. But yeah, it's about 100K that he covered yesterday. And before we get to Ben, let's look at the tracker real quick. We do have the Ghost of String Bean that is up on the screen here. And yeah, we may not want to share this page with Mike at the moment. But String Bean at the same amount of elapsed time would have been exiting the Superstition Mountains and kind of descending down towards Roosevelt Lake, whereas Mike is about to enter the Superstitions. And this is one of 3 large wilderness areas. Wilderness areas here in the U.S. means there is no vehicular access, and you're pretty much on your own. So he's got to cross the Superstitions today. He's got to cross 4 Peaks, I think, tomorrow, and then the Matazels the day after, I think is roughly the plan. And so this is kind of the middle third of the Arizona Trail. He's done the Sky Islands, he's done the Desert Crossing, and he's now entering the wilderness zones until he gets on top of the Mogollon Rim, which is going to be past Pine, past the Highline Trail. It'll really smooth out, and as you can see on that elevation profile, you can see those 3 big. That's 4 Peaks right there.
This is Superstitions.
Oh, that's
right
Superstitions.
And then Roosevelt Lake, 4 Peaks, Sunflower, and then you're going
the Matazels.
Yep.
And then that one there is at the Verde River again.
Right there at that low point. Yep.
There's the Verde River. And then he'll have like the Highline Trail. And then, yeah, it still looks a bit jaggedy, but it is definitely flatter running up there before you get up near Snowbowl. So without further ado, let's check in with Ben Light. He is in the desert at Picket Post Trailhead. How you doing, Ben? Good morning.
Good. Doing good. Thanks for having me on.
Can you give us an update?
Mike got in at like 4 this morning, crossing from the Gila River from the Kelvin Bridge to Picket Post. It's actually the largest non-supported section of 37 miles. So yeah, he did a 26 to 27 mile from Freedman Road to the Gila River. And then he did the 37 miles into late last night, which puts us in a really good spot. I mean, I know that everybody's kind of watching Joe's Ghost kind of head over the Superstitions and dropping down the other side, but it sets him up in a really good spot for the next 3 days, taking on each of those, doing the Superstitions, the 4 Peaks, and the Matazels on individual days, and not getting caught in between getting caught like halfway in between super late. So I know, how it looks and everything like that, but that big push 2 days ago actually puts him in a really good spot. And so today he'll leave here from Picket Post and go up and do the entire Superstitions, come down to Roosevelt. That's the plan. And then tomorrow he'll do 4 Peaks and the first up to Peely Trailhead, the first little bit climb into the Matazels. And then the next day after that, which will be, what's today? Today is Wednesday, so that's Thursday, Four Peaks, and then Friday will be the Mattazels. He'll go from Peely all the way past Pine to it's like Woosley or something, another trailhead just 9 miles past Pine, right before the climb up onto the plateau.
Is that going to be like Washington Park or something?
Or Geronimo?
Geronimo, maybe. Maybe it has a different name.
There's a few.
It might have a different name.
Yeah.
It's a trailhead, but it's just 8 or 9 miles past Pine.
Okay, it's probably Geronimo.
Right before the climb. I think it's in there by a camp.
Yeah.
I just my spreadsheet's not in front of me since it's on my phone.
Yeah, we refer to it as Geronimo. Camp Geronimo is right there. It's a Boy Scout camp. So
Okay.
Yeah. Nice. Do you think? Obviously, he's kind of on a little bit of a different sleep schedule than maybe you guys were intending originally. He's getting a little bit of a later start. Do you think he's going to be able to end a little bit earlier one of these nights, or do you think he's going to have to keep pushing till 3 or 4 in the morning the next 3 nights?
Well, tonight is only a 54-mile day, so it's going to be shorter miles. So roughly 10 miles shorter. So that'll save 2 to 3 hours right there. However, he does have vert involved with that, and he does have the rough terrain of the Superstition. So our hope it's not too late. That's our hope. But at this point, I guess it's not ideal. Let me just say it's not ideal. It's not what we had planned. We've given Mike the options, like up to 2 nights ago, we were in that crossroads point of sticking to the plan or pulling an audible, and the consensus, and Mike's decision to pull the audible and to push a little bit, just so that we hit these 3 mountain ranges in this format. This is the whole point, was to hit these 3 mountain ranges in this format, so he's not getting caught halfway up one and having to bivvy, because like you said, it's the wilderness areas and it's really remote and hard to get to, and it'll make him have to do a half day or a super long day to set him up in between the 2 where we have crew access.
Question for you, Ben. If Mike had stuck to the original plan, where do you think he would be at this moment?
I think what he would, that's a really hard thing to predict, just because it's really unpredictable. I think he would be almost in the same spot, just with a different sleep cycle. Yeah. I guess you can say, because when you're sleeping and not moving, and then you get up and you're moving and not sleeping, it's kind of like that same point. But that one's just really rough, because it's almost like, what if I would have done that? What if I would have done that? So this is what we chose, and this is where we are. That's what.
Well, I don't know that it really matters too.
Don't look back.
I don't know that it matters too much. I mean, trying to be so rigid in like, I have to sleep at this exact time, I think doesn't allow for that flexibility. It's just more important that he's still getting the sleep and maintaining, I think, that mental clarity and probably a bit of recovery as well.
Yeah. So let's just say, let's compare me and Mike. I can sleep day or night. Like, you put me in something dark, or like in that RV, I'll be out and I'll sleep hard and everything. Mike, as everybody knows, as they follow his story, he really has a hard time sleeping. And so I was more on the favor, I guess you can say, of putting him to bed early and then have him get up in the middle of the night and after a good 5 hours of sleep from an early sleep, and then run through the night and into the day, where he just didn't look forward to the idea of an early sleep, because he didn't know if he would be able to do an early sleep. and he would hate to lay down and not sleep properly. Whereas you go late into the night and you are extremely tired, he has no problem going to sleep. It's just that when the sun comes up like it is now, like I'm in the truck away from the van because he's technically still sleeping till 10 is the alarm. Yesterday he was up. It was a 9:30 alarm, but he was up by 8:30. So that, that's the scenario I'm talking about, is that he won't get that big sleep window as the sun comes up, just because he does have a hard time sleeping.
Nice. We're going to take a quick second, Ben. We do have a special guest this morning that we want to check in with. And we are joined by Katie Brown, and she is the female self-supported record holder on the Arizona Trail and set that 17 days, 19 hours, 52 minutes. And this was in 2022, so last year. Katie, welcome.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. It's great to meet you and have you on the show. Maybe just start off, tell us a little bit about yourself and your time on the Arizona Trail.
Gosh, well, I'm a thru hiker turned ultra runner turned adventurer. I live in the Wasatch in Salt Lake City. I am a nurse by profession, so in between my 12-hour shifts, I try to get out in the mountains as much as possible. I've got the SKT on the AZT a couple years ago, and it's held strong now. I'm kind of excited. We're through this season, so I've held it for another year. But yeah, I got it on the second try, like Mike, so I'm rooting for him on this second try. Second time's the charm for me.
Nice. Could you talk a little bit about maybe the section that he just went through overnight heading into Picket Post, and then also what he has ahead of him, if you can describe that to the viewers out there?
Yeah, so the section he just did is like an incredibly gorgeous section. Hopefully he got it in the daylight. Going northbound is absolutely beautiful. Once you get out of the Gila River, you're in this incredible canyon, and Picket Post is actually one of my lowest points. Probably my second to my lowest point. My lowest point was in Roosevelt. Yeah, just going into the superstitions. It was leaving Picket Post. It was kind of a low point for me, but it's very gorgeous. That the Superstition Wilderness is incredible. So he has a lot of beauty in front of him, and Four Peaks area and the Mazatzel is some of my favorite parts of the AZT. So I'm excited for him to experience that.
So this might be, I guess, it's slightly off topic. It is about the Arizona Trail. I got some insider information, Katie, that you may have had an experience with some rodents out there. Maybe can you talk about that a little bit? I don't think we've touched on this yet, but it was when I was out there, I met people with trekking pole like straps that were completely chewed off their poles from
I haven't
salt.
heard of this before.
Oh yeah. Is that true, Katie, that you did have an incident?
Yeah, it's absolutely true. So like when I was coming up and over Mount Lemon, I was supposed to make it way further down, but I was just so excited. So exhausted. I mean, not excited. I was exhausted and couldn't make it as far down Mount Lemon as I could going northbound, and just decided to just pitch a tent on the side of Mount Lemon there. And it was super, super duper windy, and fell asleep, was just totally conked out. And when I woke up and packed up all my stuff the next morning, some rodents, I don't even know what it was, but they had, the pack that I was wearing had two sternum straps. They chewed both my sternum straps off. They chewed my side straps off of my backpack. They chewed my handles on, like the little handles on my trekking poles. And then they chewed a couple, thank God they didn't get to my shoelaces, but they did chew off, some of the pole tabs on the back of my shoes as well. So
my goodness.
Yeah, and when you're going self-supported, I mean, you're carrying a heavy pack, so, and lots of water, and the sternum straps really, and the pack I was wearing didn't have a waist strap, so those sternum straps are like super important when you're talking about weight distribution and the pain it puts on your back. So going into, gosh, I don't remember where it was. I think it was the next day somewhere, and I've been following this other thru hiker's footsteps, and when you get out there, you just kind of hyper obsess about other people's footprints. And finally, I started seeing him over the hills, cresting the hills, and I finally ran into this guy, and he was so kind. I didn't even tell him about my ordeal with the rodents and my sternum strap. He just like completely out of the blue was like, so like I picked up a strap yesterday, and like, do you want it? And in my head I'm like, I don't know what he's talking about, a strap. He pulls out not only a volet strap, but like a huge volet strap, perfectly sized, so I could like strap it around my shoulder strap so they could hold together and give me that like sternum support that I needed on my back. That was probably like my number one piece of trail magic I've ever gotten.
The trail taketh away and the trail provides.
That's right. That's
absolutely.
That's amazing.
Absolutely. It was amazing.
We had a question here in the chat asking, did you go northbound in the time of year that you did it?
I went northbound, and I went in the springtime. So I started the end of April going into May.
Nice. We touched on this a little bit with Jeff Garmeyer and Josh Perry, who traded off the men's self-supported record. And I don't know if you've been following every day, but talk a little bit about the difference between that self-supported versus supported. Like, what are the differences that you see or internalize?
Well, I mean, kind of self-explanatory. When you're self-supported, you have to kind of predetermine locations where you're either going to buy food or pick up packages. You have to make sure that you're schedule-wise, that you're walking into a town during business hours to pick up your stuff. You don't have the luxury of having someone with you to pace you or to meet you at trailheads to give you that moral support. You don't really have the luxury of like being able to eat like town food all the time. It's all of what you're carrying on your back. It's a little different. It's because of my through hiking background, it's my preference. It's two completely different things. I really enjoy the supported goes. It's usually trail runners who go for those, and it's super exciting to see how they do it and how they manage. They usually get a lot more sleep because they usually have a bed available to them. So I hope Mike's getting lots of rest and sleep right now.
Yeah, it's like one word difference, just that word self, but it really, like you said, it really feels like two different sports almost within the same thing. Yeah, it's I don't think they're very comparable. They're two complete. I mean, you have the added weight on your back versus most Mike's doing is like 30-mile sections, so he's got to carry a lot of water, but he doesn't have to carry shelter. He doesn't have to carry like all those essential things to that you need as self-supported. So it's two different things.
Katie, I know you mentioned that Roosevelt Lake was your low point.
Yeah.
Which makes me guess that maybe the superstitions were a little bit of a tricky section for you. Can you maybe touch on like what Mike has coming up in this next wilderness area that he's about to go into?
So the superstitions, it was hot.
Yeah.
And I think for me, my low was mostly mental. I had been, because that's another thing that's different than self-supported. I was like conserving my battery power, so I didn't really have couldn't really talk to people at that point. My batteries were dying, and I needed like my phone power, and I didn't have like any contact with like the outside world. And so the terrain-wise, it's you have some rugged climbs going up into the superstitions, and then rocking through the superstitions. It's a beautiful experience. And then coming down into Roosevelt, the reason it was so low it was so hot. It was so hot coming into Roosevelt. When I came down into Roosevelt, that low point is just, literally low. You have some of that Phoenix heat coming in, and then climbing out of Roosevelt, I was like to maximum water capacities and resupplied, and it was for me, it was definitely more of like a mental load. So hopefully Mike's mental state is working well, because climbing into the superstitions and then climbing out of Roosevelt, those are some like pretty significant climbs, and for me they were extremely difficult, not only physically but also very much mentally.
Yeah, that would have been. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. The first time I tried the AZT, climbing into the superstitions, I camped right, like probably 3,000 feet before you kind of like crest up there. And I forget what that peak is called.
Montana. The first one's Montana Mountain.
Peak.
Yeah.
It was Montana Mountain, and I camped maybe 3,000 feet below that, and I woke up at like 4 a.m. and like started going, and I made it to the top to fix and I stopped to fix a toe niggle, blister niggle, and realized I had left one of my ditty sacks down at the bottom, so I had to like go back down and go back up. That was really crappy.
When you were out there, it would have been early May, so I think it's encouraging to hear from Mike that it wasn't like the terrain that really produced that low point for you, because it sounds like he's going to have pretty good weather. So
yeah, he's looking at perfect weather right now. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's really great.
Should we check back in with Ben?
Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
And yeah, you can feel free to keep talking. You guys can actually talk to each other if you want. I don't know if you have any questions for Ben as well.
Hey Ben, how's it going?
Good, Katie. It's so good to hear from you.
I know, it's been a while.
Yeah, just so the viewers know, we're both from the same area, and we know each other outside of the AZT world. So
oh, perfect.
Yeah.
How's he feeling?
Oh well, so yesterday when he came into the Gila River area, you can see the tiredness starting to set into his eyes. He's starting to feel he's at 300 miles now, so he's starting to feel the fatigue a little bit on his legs, so we're busting out I know you just love hearing all this stuff. We're busting out like the air compression, boots, as he's eating his steak and sushi and pizza.
Good for him.
Different sports.
That's awesome. That's so
yeah.
awesome.
So I mean, I'm over here I eat up listening to the self-supported mentality and the self-supported dynamics, because viewing it from a crew support, and then also as a runner, I ran 200 miles last year, and kind of being supported and kind of looking at all the dynamics, I really think that there's opportunity for a self-supported overall record if executed properly, because I do look at a lot of the time spent in crew spots and the power of bivvying wherever you want, almost wherever you want to an extent.
Absolutely.
and putting in the exact time slots that you want, like where it's either I'm gonna stop early with the crew, or I have to go late into the evening because I have this 30-mile section that hits right when I would like to sleep.
Yeah, it's definitely an advantage, and I did that all the time. Keep moving until you don't want to move anymore, and literally just lay down on the side of the trail.
Yeah, but there's definitely perks, just like pizza, sushi, smoothies, slushies.
A
So
bed. Exciting. Well, I'm rooting for him. I think he's gonna do it. He's
yeah, I have full confidence that he's gonna do it. You know, it's just keeping him, just keeping him the mental excitement too, because you know it's wearing on you. Just like being out there solo, it's wearing. I know yesterday he hit a really big low last evening right before as he was leaving the Gila River, for the fact that he was missing Halloween with his kids. He got picture updates from his wonderful wife showing the kids, and that hopefully to help him, but at the same time, him as a very loving, caring father, he really misses them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those low points are really, really hard. I have definitely spent much time sobbing on the phone with my partner. So it can be really hard. But hopefully he keeps his eye on the prize.
Yeah, but I want to say much respect to you. I mean, being out here, previewing the trail, being doing a good majority of some of it and everything like that. It's just Arizona trails hit differently than the Utah trails, the California trails, just any other trails. The Arizona trails really hit differently, and everything is out here to kill you. So
absolutely. It's hopefully he didn't have any run-ins with the jumping choya. So
oh yes, he did.
Oh
yeah, he got attacked in between Highway 77 and Freeman, and they didn't. I kept on telling them that they needed to carry a comb in this section, and they're kind of like, and he didn't have any problems last year, so they didn't have a comb, and both him and his pacer got a new outlook on those cactuses.
Those things are evil, but so beautiful.
Yeah. Don't touch.
Exactly.
Ben, do you think he's getting a mental boost from being back on, I suppose, familiar terrain, areas that he's been before? Do you think he's drawing some confidence knowing that he knows what's coming up, more or less?
Not when you have the superstitions in front of you. It's like he knows what's coming up.
Well, and the Matazal, all of it. I think all those are just, there are rough sections.
I think you asked that question the minute he hits the plateau, and he'll be a new man.
True. This next...
It's so interesting how mentally, for me, it was like, I just need to make it to Pine. I just need to make it to Pine. Then everything will be okay. People underestimate southern and central Arizona.
So these three wilderness areas are approximately mile 292, and then he'll hit the Verde at mile 422. So about 130 miles is...
You said 288 to 432?
Yeah.
Yeah, 140 miles.
Which, the grand scheme of things, isn't too far. And I really do think this is the crux of the entire trail. Like, this is where it gets real. You're more disconnected from everything, really. Hard, like you said, Ben, super inaccessible, probably the rugged spot on the entire trail. And I'm glad he got here, and he's getting rest before he goes into it, I suppose.
Yeah, you've gone through some super hard terrain with the Sky Islands. You've got tired legs, and then it just doesn't let up with the superstitions and the Mazatals. So you got to just keep pushing.
Yep.
Ben, do we have some activity going on?
Well, he's up, so I just kind of came over to the van. You good? Really what? He's puff. He's just puffy right now. So
just a little puffy.
well, he just woke up. He's in the back, so I just figured I don't have to be in the truck anymore, so I just come over and talk and hear.
Sure.
So
Katie, looks like we do have a question. Maybe Bryce can read it off for us.
For Katie, so if you bivouac wherever, what do you do about water? Seems like it would be an issue in Arizona when dealing with the heat.
Well, the luxury of walking really, really far every day is you get to hit a lot of the water caches quite often, and so I had 6 liter capacity. And so because I would just camp wherever, I just always made sure I had like a lot of water with me at all times. I had a couple of situations where I got low on water, and I only ran out really once. But that was in southern Arizona. So I just made sure that I had plenty of water with me, so it didn't matter, because my planned water stops, I would just full to capacity and then just walk. And that just enabled me to be able to walk further, even though my pack was really heavy. I preferred to just continuously walk than plan my stops and my days around filling up with water.
Do you remember specifically what section you had to was your biggest water carry?
Oh gosh, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. I do know. I always had a lot of water, like a lot of water. I set out and tried to hit up the long trail this year, and it was just in Vermont, and it was just silly, the comparison of, I carried 1 liter with me at all times on the long trail versus carrying 4 to 6
Yeah,
every carry.
I will say the information is pretty good out there on where water is available, and it's a lot more available than you'd think in a lot of areas. There are some dry stretches where it might be a cattle pond or a cattle tank, and so if you don't want to pull from that, you've got to carry more. Surprisingly, one of the driest sections is in northern Arizona across Babbitt Ranches. You would think that, hey, it's northern Arizona, you're in the pines, like there should be tons of water, but there's just really not. I mean, I think maybe it's the volcanic soil; it just soaks in. So,
well, and all the water tanks are just awful.
So yeah,
they're half, and they're not tanks, guys. When people say that they're water tanks, they're not tanks. They're cow ponds.
Oh yeah, and they could be like Bryce was telling me he had a dead cow in one. So
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Like I said, I tried to plan the majority of my water stops around the caches, so I knew I had good water and I didn't have to spend time filtering.
Yeah, for me, I think Kentucky camp and then leaving Arizona Snowball was the 2 sections where I had 2.5 gallons with me.
Oh, wow.
And that got me, I think, about 80 miles each. So
yeah, I think the longest I ever really had to carry water was maybe 20 miles, but even then, like my water stops were 10 to 15 miles easy at all times. So
looks like we got Ben back in there with Mike. I can't tell if that's Mike moving around in the background. I think we'll.
No, this is Scott. He's preparing Mike's breakfast.
Oh, what is for breakfast?
I think it's going to be gluten-free pancakes with half of a keto brick and some blueberries and bananas.
welcome to our new segment on the show. It's cooking on the AZT.
Supported cooking, because this is definitely not what Katie got on the ACT.
I mean, the keto blocks seem to be really key as far as getting in those calories and something dense and still healthy.
Yeah, it's actually very healthy. I mean, from a fat standpoint, with calories and dense calories, with salt, it's actually has a large amount of salt, and so it's been to get the extra amount, just trying to load him up as much as possible. It's been definitely key.
Got a question in the chat. How many calories are in this meal?
It's 1,000 calories. Hey Scott, you want to hand me one?
Yeah, it's 1,000 calories total.
Yeah, it's 1,000 calories. They come in like a variety of different flavors. I guess we can plug Keto Brick here on the show, but this one particular one is butter maple pecan. And so, yeah, you're getting this to kind of give you an idea. I mean, it's actually, from a through hiking standpoint, it might be actually a good option because you're sitting at 1,000 calories. I don't know the exact weight. If the Keto Brick, when it says 141 grams, is the weight of it, or if that's just a different number fact. But you got 92 grams of fat.
Wow.
Sodium is 360 milligrams. Carbohydrates, it's 13, so it's obviously lower on the carbohydrates from a keto standpoint, but 30 grams of protein in it, and it melts. So you can actually take these and melt them and put them in different forms. So like into chips or into anything like you want, and then melt it into a smoothie, melt it into pancakes and stuff like that. So
I just have an
I'm
image.
looking this thing up right now because I've never really heard about this before, but its number one ingredient is cacao butter and then grass-fed whey protein.
Wonder if you could melt one of these in a jet boil.
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Oh yeah, it'll melt down. I mean, you want to melt it on a little bit lower.
Oh sure, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, like the main thing that's, I guess, it's throwing up the calories besides that is the you got the organic cocoa butter, but I think there's even coconut or what do you call it? Is it coconut oil or something like that?
I feel like I remember
Yeah.
we didn't have keto bricks back when I was hiking, but we had pemmican bars.
Oh yeah.
Was definitely
That's
I feel
old
like-
school. that's like
I am
1800s old school.
I am old school.
That's like
Is that the sugar? Is that the ones with sugar?
no, it's like traditionally it's bison and fruit and like I mean it's like what they
I don't think I had that kind. It was like fruit and
it's
nut,
like an
basically.
updated one.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I know when you go to the UK, when I was over in the UK, you go to their hiking places, like their mountaineering stuff, and they got those big bricks of like sugar. It's like this huge amount of calories of a brick of sugar that you just kind of bite off, and it's like a huge dump of carbohydrate fuel source.
I mean, really, it's a game of numbers. You're just trying to get in as many calories as you can. And is Mike bringing those keto bricks out with him?
I was gonna say, are you just like, do you just gnaw on these throughout the trail, or are you putting it into something else?
Yeah, so he'll take one keto brick with him and just kind of gnaw on it every little by little, like add it to the rotation of Spring Energy and just different like potato chips and just anything that he's taking out there to try to switch up the flavor and the palate, because you just get tired of just one thing. So he'll actually put the keto brick into the rotation, and then when he gets to us, he'll like want a fresh one, and we'll take the used one and put that in the refrigerator and be ready to apply that one into a meal.
Interesting.
Yeah.
When I was on the trail, I think similar to what Josh Perry and we should be referring to people by their trail names. I feel like
yeah, we didn't even ask.
we're
Josh.
not doing great. Katie, can you just fill us in on your trail name, please, real quick? We're just going to take a pause.
My trail name is Wilby, short for wilderness. Yeah,
Nice.
the joke in college that multiplied on the trail. So
Wildy, I like it.
yeah.
So yeah, we were talking to what is Garmire's
Oh, legend.
legend? And then what about
Legend.
Josh Perry? Do we know?
I don't know.
I'm sure
remember
Legend
exactly.
can comment here in the thing.
I think Mike adopted Dark McKnight.
Dark
Yes.
McKnight. Okay, that's great.
I think that was definitely like that might have been bestowed upon him in the Cocodona chat a few times. Yeah. Well, if anybody knows Josh Perry's trail name out there,
Oh boy.
Jamil, what is your trail name?
It's probably peanut M&M or something
I
like
don't
that.
have a trail name.
You didn't get a trail. Oh, I guess you only saw like 2 other hikers out there.
Yeah, I feel like trail names come about when you're on the trail with people, and I wasn't with anyone.
Yeah.
So I guess still waiting. But what was I going to say? Oh, the calories per ounce. Like I was definitely doing those calculations, and I think for me at the time, I would get them from REI. They were the dark chocolate sesame snaps.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like those, I think were the highest calorie density food.
For their weight?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. Calorie per gram was the highest for me. So and those are delicious. I ate a bunch
Pretty
of
good.
those.
Yeah.
The one thing I took Tiger's Milk bars, and that's the one food that I haven't touched since the Arizona Trail.
Yeah.
I know that there's something for everyone, I'm sure, that they just get sick of.
Yeah. Let's see.
Bryce, you want to tell us about your trail name?
I thought I avoided it.
I thought you thought you were going to get off clear for that one.
So my trail name was Day 4. I tried to get it changed multiple times to several other things, but Dylan and the ambassador, who was my buddy I was with, wouldn't let it. So I didn't use the restroom. I didn't poop until the 4th day when we actually hit the Grand Canyon. I was just packing some extra weight, and then found a porta potty, and then after I used the porta potty, they called me Day 4 for the rest of the trail. It's a brutal one.
It's awful.
They're not always flattering.
No. Definitely not.
We can't all be legend, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to mention, I think we also need to check in on some of the media that was uploaded yesterday.
Let's take a look.
I have been mentioning how I kind of make this superstition seem ominous, I think, and just like it's almost like I'm trying to like scare people from the superstitions, but it really
It
is.
sounds scary, the name.
But it is like one of the most beautiful like wilderness areas I've ever been through personally, and they actually used to call it the Mountains of Foam.
Really?
Because they used to think they look like foam, just like how bubbly kind of each one of those mountains are. But here, so yesterday we're starting with Mike's Descent from Lemon. Oh no, this would be through the desert. This would be from Friedman Road.
From Freeman Road, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think this is from yesterday, I believe. It's a pretty cool shirt, actually.
Rabbit. Is it Rabbit? Running with one of his pacers. I think he's been with the pacer the whole time. Reminiscing.
That's about it, huh?
I think that is the last one, but it does give you just a sense of kind of the open desert that he would be running through yesterday. Exposed, not a lot of refill opportunities, so he's probably got a decent amount of water weight in that backpack.
When he crossed the lowest point on the entire trail, which
Right.
would be the Gila River,
Yep.
halfway through the day. Maybe check his stories.
Oh, is this coming from his pacer?
Yeah, some images from his pacer that probably shared with us yesterday.
He's moving really fast there. I want to say that's just for context, this is the last little bump, I believe, before you drop into Kearney and get to the Gila River.
Okay. Very windy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. A little better. Yeah, that was Brendan. That was the guy that was with him. Looks like that was that section from Freeman Road to Kearney to the Gila River. Sweet. Let's check it back in on breakfast.
Yeah, when you saw Brennan, those story updates, from Freeman down into the Gila River area.
Who was his pacer from Kearney up into Superior?
So that's was Rob. Rob, what is it? I don't know Rob's last name, but yeah, if he has video, we'll get it uploaded today onto a story.
Oh, cool.
And so that you guys will have it a little bit for tomorrow. But since they came in at 4 a.m.,
Right.
we really haven't had a chance to review anything like that.
So are Rob and Brendan, are they locals, or have they traveled to come down here and run with Mike?
So Brendan actually was the guy in the Crazy Mouse light up outfit. He was out there pacing a friend 40-something miles out at Javelina. And then he jetted down here to join the crew just for he had about a day and a half. And so we inserted him yesterday on the 27-mile section. So he did another 27 miles with Mike. And then he's actually headed out today to go back home to get back to responsibilities. Rob is actually one of Mike's clients, and he's originally from Philadelphia or from New Jersey, but he resides out of his van and is out here with Mike for the whole duration.
Oh, right on. He's in it for the long haul.
Yeah. He gives. Yeah. Yeah, I think we were just talking about it. I think Rob's already up to close to miles out of the 300 Mike's done.
That's awesome.
That's cool.
I think they're all chomping at the bit to see who can get the most miles with Mike.
Ben, do you have any duties this morning to get Mike out the door here?
Nope, this is my duty right here to hold the phone and
just want to make sure we're not holding you up.
No, we got enough crew to have enough responsibilities. I'll probably take a look at his feet before he heads back out. That's kind of my specialty, is to make sure feet are all buttoned up. But everybody has we have a good crew that's take on different roles and responsibilities with the pack, the nutrition, breakfast, obviously, and so everybody has their assignments.
What else do you want to touch on this morning, Bryce? Anything?
I did. I was told to ask Katie about her experience with cold soaking on the trail. Katie, do you have any insights on cold soaking versus bringing a jet boil, or how was your experience out there with cold soaking? Maybe you could explain to viewers who might not know what cold soaking is.
So cold soaking, you do not bring a stove or heating element of any kind. You carry like a peanut butter jar or something with a sealable top, and you, a couple hours before you want to eat something, you cold soak, with cold water. Whatever you're going to be eating, you rehydrate it. For me, it was a lot of beans and rice. Kind of already touched on the fact that I dealt with a lot of heat while I was out there, and so going up into Saguaro National Park, I decided I was done with cold soaking and I wasn't going to eat one more bite of it. So the next trash can I came to, I threw away all of my cold soaking things and I stopped cold soaking. It just like it was not agreeing with me. Thankfully there was I think when I got to pick a post, there was a ton of stuff in the cache, like just food people had left, and so I picked up what I needed and just disposed of all of my cold soaking supplies and every one of my resupplies. I couldn't stomach it, and I'm not a cold soaking girl. I don't like it. It's either stove and warm food or bars for me.
Interesting. So yeah, I can imagine it's probably not the greatest experience texture wise or taste wise. Like it doesn't quite get there in the same way as cooking foods.
Yeah. The only food that I can really enjoy cold soak is, and it's not really cold soak, mashed potatoes. Instant mashed potatoes. It's the only food I can abide.
So you just kind of abandoned or pivoted your nutrition plan like mid hike?
Yeah. I was done with it. I don't like vomiting, and it kind of made me nauseous, and so I was like, I think I can manage calorie wise with this, and I did. I didn't want to do it. You never know. Like, you never know what you're going to run into, the issues that you're going to run into. And like, that wasn't one of the things that I'd really planned on dealing with. And, it's kind of nice because, you just kind of have to deal with things on the fly, but it worked out for me. But you always run into things that you least expect. And for me, cold soaking was not the answer. So I just abandoned. I figured if I throw away all that stuff, it's just less weight to carry.
So not something you would recommend. I didn't know if we could maybe cold soak some keto bars and turn that into like a smoothie,
I don't think you can cold soak keto bars.
I was starting to get a little excited about the concept of cold soaking as like some sort of a hack, but it sounds like it's just not that.
Some people love cold soaking.
Really?
Like my husband, he does not carry a stove. He's all about the cold soak. I'm pretty sure Jeff is all about the cold soaking.
He's my insider scoop, actually.
Oh, shoot. But I'm just not about it. It doesn't taste good to me. I enjoy hot meals way too much to bastardize them by cold soaking.
Maybe Ben can answer this question from Dax in the chat. What is Mike's favorite flavor of Keto Brick?
Hey Mike, what's your favorite flavor of Keto Brick right now? The brownie batter.
There you go. Nice.
That was a decisive answer.
They have this new one that I actually haven't had a chance to receive, but it's like almost like vanilla cake ice, like a batter. It smells amazing. Like I opened it up and we started melting it down to put it into a pancake or into a smoothie, and I was like, it just smells like cake batter, like a vanilla or a lemon vanilla type cake batter. It's just stupid awesome.
I'm definitely gonna have to check that stuff out. I know they do have some vegan flavors as well, so I'll be maybe ordering some up after this just to give it a shot.
Hungry for some keto bricks over here.
I'm really curious about the calorie to weight ratio with those. Are they really worth chomping cold?
the cold chomp.
It's definitely a great snack. I actually, so let me say this. When I really like it is when have a long drive, and you're trying to look for food to like piece on, so you don't have to grab like gas station food. I'll like cut up a keto brick and put it into a sandwich bag, and just pull out a chunk every once in a while, and it's amazing and very satisfying. And for me, being on a lower carb nutrition diet, it doesn't make me puffy or anything like that. It doesn't make me have like gut issues or anything, and so it's a very clean source of nutrition and snack.
So I think we're gonna need to wrap it up on our side here. Ben and Katie, do you guys Do you guys have any final thoughts on how he's doing, what he's got coming up?
He's got a lot of stuff coming up. Keep moving, get lots of rest, and make it to the Muggy and Rim. You'll be good.
Yeah. 3 days. In 3 days, it's all downhill.
Yep.
That's what I'm just telling them.
Exactly.
3 days. Just count down the days, and it's all downhill.
Keep your head down. Yep.
Keep marching. 3 days will pass by, and you'll be in the nice pine country. So, good stuff. Awesome. Well, thank you both for joining us. Again, thank you to all the viewers out there. We're starting to get, I think, some really good support, some good viewership on these shows. Please subscribe to the channel and share the shows. I think it's been amazing talking with all these guests. There's so much insights here and really exciting stuff. So tune in every morning, 9 a.m. We'll be back with them coming to you live from Roosevelt Lake tomorrow morning.
Thanks, everyone.